Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today for this webinar, Your Corporate Anniversary, How to Plan for Success. We're so glad you're here, and we really look forward to the panel ahead. I'm Laura Starr, the Director of Business Development at HAI. I'm also a proud member of the Anniversary Collective. The Anniversary Collective is the sponsor of today's webinar. And I have the honor to be your webinar moderator for today. You're going to learn how successful celebrations showcase a company's longevity, legacy, leadership, and success, while also strengthening connections with stakeholders, employees, customers, partners, and members of the community. I wanted to mention too that the tips and methodologies we're sharing today aren't just limited to specific milestone anniversaries, but really all corporate celebrations. So we think you're going to be able to apply the lessons learned today across all of your different types of celebrations. Before we dive into the webinar content, I do have just a little bit of housekeeping here. So you'll notice that there is a ticker at the bottom of your screen throughout the webinar. Please do follow along to find other ways to further engage with the Anniversary Collective. I also wanted to thank everyone who submitted questions in advance of the webinar. We will be addressing those questions at the end once all of our panelists have presented their content. All right, so we have the housekeeping out of the way. Now I wanted to make some introductions. So your first question might be, who is the Anniversary Collective? I'm not quite sure who these people are or how we all came together. So let me tell you a little bit more about the Anniversary Collective. So we are a unique consortium of specialists that's come together to guide organizations in celebrating their key milestones. And you can see on the slide here a little bit more about us. It also includes our mission statement and then just all about the distinct specialties that each of the four firms brings to the table as part of the collective. So walking through this a little bit, HAI offers strategic planning and project management, historical and archival research, and content planning and acquisition. Marketing Maven provides social media marketing, influencer marketing services, and public relations. Innovate Marketing Group specializes in event planning and execution, brand activations, and experiential marketing. And finally, MLT Creative provides B2B marketing and communication services, interactive and static timelines, and animation and video production to bring stories to life. Each company that makes up the collective has worked with many corporations for decades to plan, advertise, and celebrate anniversaries. But we came to the realization that our clients really needed a one-stop shop for all of their anniversary planning and implementation needs. So we came together to form the Anniversary Collective so that organizations could have that one point of contact. The Anniversary Collective brings together the best in the industry to transform your milestone celebration into something that's momentous and a memorable experience. We're here to help craft your company legacy and to celebrate your milestones. And I'm so very excited to be joined by three distinguished members of the Anniversary Collective. I'm very just so lucky to call them colleagues and friends, and they're here to share some key takeaways and tips for planning and launching a successful anniversary celebration. So with that, I will invite all of our speakers to join the virtual stage here while I introduce them. Hi, everyone. All right, so let me just share a little bit about each of our speakers today. Megan Anderson is the Director of Content and Digital Storytelling at HAI. HAI provides research, discovery, and experience services to clients and partners around the world. Megan is an expert historian, researcher, writer, content developer, and project manager. She has even maintained the prestigious Project Management Professional certification since 2019. Megan is also a strategic leader within HAI, bringing insight and enthusiasm to delivering high-value content and exhibits to her clients and partners. She's also a very devoted mentor to her team. Some may even call her the office mom, and an innovator in bringing history to life for all. Lindsay Carnett is the CEO and president of Marketing Maven. She is a two-time honoree of Inc. 5000 fastest growing independently owned companies in America. She is also an Entrepreneur 360 Most Entrepreneurial Companies in America award recipient. Lindsay has taken her business expertise globally to enlighten marketing peers, clients, and students about best practices in using PR to drive sales, improve organic SEO, and grow a positive online reputation. Lindsay is the author of The Marketing Maven Method, Secrets of a Maven. She speaks at high-profile national marketing and consumer products conferences and guest lectures at universities. Through these engagements, Lindsay has certainly earned the reputation as an expert in the field of marketing and public relations. And last but not least, of course, Amanda Ma. Amanda is the founder and CEO of Innovate Marketing Group, an award-winning event management agency based in Los Angeles for top brands such as TikTok, Google, and East West Bank. Under Amanda's leadership, the agency has become one of the most sought-after events firms in the area, known for delivering results and building long-term relationships with clients. Her agency has been named a top 100 event agency and Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies in America. Lindsay and Amanda are certainly in good company there together on those lists. With more than 20 years of experience in events and marketing, Amanda is a true visionary and thought leader in the industry. Amanda has been a longtime champion for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, and she continues to serve on several boards and advisory councils. So now with those introductions complete and with the stage set for an exciting webinar today, I'm going to turn the microphone over to our first speaker, Megan Anderson.
Thanks so much, Laura. Anniversary projects can feel big, overwhelming, and scary. So I want to start this part of the session by saying, take a deep breath, and we're all going to do it together. Working with our team will make the process as painless as possible. Anniversaries memorialize moments in time that are significant to your company, your clients, and your employees. They represent a moment to pause and reflect on accomplishments or failures, periods of inspiring leadership, or instability and strife, what an organization has overcome, and what it will do now and in the future. Anniversaries can be catalysts, launching changes, new initiatives, or course corrections. But how do we get from point A to point B? Well, to start, you develop a really solid plan, which sounds easy, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. It'll become the cornerstone of the entire endeavor. The Anniversary Collective calls this step storyboard development. During this stage, we'll work with you on the basics. What stories are worth telling? What themes do I focus on? What sorts of historical materials do I need? Who is my audience? How do I share the story? What kind of budget do I want to put forth on this effort? The Anniversary Collective will meet with your team to understand the answer to all these questions and more. You'll be able to involve as many or as few stakeholders as you'd like. Those small group sessions are usually the way to go, regardless of the end size of your overall stakeholder group. So whether you're talking to 5 people or 50, it's good to batch them in smaller groups. If you don't have a great grasp on your holdings, our team can come in and assess your historical holdings, or we can help you distribute surveys to learn which team members might hold records of interest. At the end, we'll compile information your team supplies into a roadmap document to guide the effort moving forward. We'll help prioritize based on inputs from your stakeholders, be it a survey result or their direct feedback during stakeholder sessions. This exercise will help the organization confirm its priorities and build consensus. So instead of everyone feeling like it's an isolated exercise that you might hear an update about once in a while, you can make this project feel like everyone has a stake in it. And as a bonus, by establishing answers at step 1, you can avoid unnecessary stress at step 10. Once you've identified the basics of why you want to commemorate, who is your audience, what is your theme, and how do you want to do it, you can move on to the fun stuff, or what I think is fun, research. Or we can do that for you. Our team will start with the information we collected at the outset. What records do you have in-house? Do you have multiple offices? Are there sets of records at each office? Once we understand the extent, we can begin reviewing. Our teams will wade through board minutes, old photographs, company newsletters, and more to move beyond the numbers to understand the people who worked at your organization. And don't worry about your closet being dusty or the conditions not being ideal. We've worked with it all. At this stage, we would also collect the literal lived experiences of employees, board members, and more with oral history interviews. With an eye towards tracking transformation, growth, or change, our teams can talk with the employees or board members who have important perspectives on different moments and events in your organization's history. And don't worry if you don't have a ton of your own records. That just means we'll have to get creative. Perhaps there are archival holdings elsewhere. Perhaps earlier in your organization's history, someone at your company donated records to a local university, college, or association. Do you know the history of the building you actually reside in? Do you have the deed? Have you ever wondered what's appeared in the news about your organization, at the local or national level? There are a wealth of different information sources, and that's just the paper record. Depending on your industry, there are all sorts of physical ephemera to include. That could include prototypes, samples, awards. History is so much more than the paper trail that we leave behind. After this research phase, we'll compile all of our findings and overall methodology to make sure we've covered all our bases. We recommend tackling both an interim and second draft, offering everyone the opportunity to discuss any further avenues before we finalize. Once we understand the landscape of what is known and what's not, we'll bring in the larger Anniversary Collective team to understand what we hope to accomplish and achieve with the outputs based on all this fact-finding. What are the goals of this anniversary? We discussed that at the outset, but maybe we need to refine this more at this stage when we have the research complete. What will be the key performance indicators of the anniversary? Is there a strategy for gifting your employees, clients, and other stakeholders? Will there be a big event? What could that look like? I think my work here would be done, but my partners are going to dive into the finer points of what comes next.
Great. Thanks so much, Megan. So just to reiterate all of that great content that you just shared with everyone, anniversary planning can really be distilled into these 3 very important steps. The storyboard tactical development is where you should get started. Then conduct that research into the internal holdings that the company has, external sources that are out there, whether they're in physical format, digital format, and then also conduct memory capture with existing employees, former employees, executives, members of the community to enhance the information that's out there about the company. And then finally, that third step to establish the overall methodology for crafting the celebration based on what was discovered in those first 2 steps. That's all very helpful in understanding sort of the foundation for how to get started in planning an anniversary celebration. So thank you so much, Megan, for that. Next up, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Lindsay to share more about the marketing journey that one embarks on when celebrating an anniversary. Lindsay, over to you.
Thanks again, Megan, for your insightful deep dive into the importance of history, research, and ensuring that our anniversaries are rooted in authenticity and genuine reflection. So just as Megan pointed out the importance of understanding and embracing your brand's history, my role in this collective is to help your brand showcase its anniversary in the most impactful way using modern marketing tactics. So an anniversary is not just about celebrating the past, it's also about setting the stage for the future. It's a golden marketing opportunity to re-engage with your stakeholders, reposition in the market if necessary, and reaffirm your brand promise. So how can we showcase your brand throughout this pivotal moment? Let's dive into that. The foundation of a successful celebration is always rooted in strategic messaging. Every brand has a unique story, challenges faced, milestones achieved, a vision that propels them forward. So it's our job to crystallize that story, ensuring that it resonates deeply, not just as a trip down memory lane, but as a reaffirmation of the brand's values and aspirations. So from here, we merge into a fully integrated marketing strategy. An anniversary should not just exist in isolation. It should be a crescendo into a year-long symphony, an amplification of the brand's voice amid regular cadence. So by intertwining the anniversary narrative with broader marketing campaigns, we amplify its reach to ensure that it resonates long after the celebration has concluded. Within broader strategy, it's also important to understand how to leverage digital media. In a world where digital stories are consumed in snippets and sound bites, nobody has an attention span. Anniversary narratives can find a home in immersive influencer videos, insightful interviews, and engaging behind the scenes content. So, the power of a well curated hashtag or a poignant memory shared in real time can ripple through an audience, evoking shared nostalgia and a collective anticipation. The bedrock of the journey remains with the stakeholder engagement. Anniversaries are a pivotal moment that allow brands to deepen their connections, be it with loyal customers, dedicated employees, or trusted partners. So, from exclusive events to tailored experiences, it's your chance to show gratitude, seek feedback, and pave the way for collaborative futures. As with all endeavors, measuring impact is paramount. So, beyond the sentiments and the euphoria, we want to look at the metrics. How has this anniversary shifted brand perception? Has there been a tangible increase in stakeholder engagement or customer loyalty? So, this not only validates our strategies, but this also serves as a guiding light for future engagements. What type of events would be really great for your audience? So, to wrap up, crafting an anniversary celebration is a journey of introspection, creativity, and strategic foresight. It's about honoring legacies, kindling excitement, and above all, setting the stage for many more successful years ahead. And in this journey, we, the Anniversary Collective, take pride in being trusted partners, helping brands turn milestones into memorable masterpieces.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lindsay. I really appreciated how you were talking both about the passion and the analysis that's so important to this cohesive marketing strategy and the tactics involved there. I think those are excellent points to consider. And, it's the reality, right, of an anniversary or a milestone celebration that you have both that enthusiasm and the passion. And you mentioned even like the nostalgia. But then it's very important to bring in things like the impact assessments to make sure that this is having real world effects and a real world impact on that. So thank you so much for those thoughts on the importance of developing a cohesive marketing strategy, one that's, involves strategic messaging, integrated marketing, digital engagement, stakeholder connections as the bedrock for all of it, and then really conducting a thorough impact assessment as the final step there. Thank you so much. Next, I'll turn it over to Amanda, who will be providing you with the finer details on event management and how to ensure that your anniversary celebrations are not just memorable, but truly unforgettable. Amanda, over to
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Laura. And, kudos to all the other talents before me. Everybody's obviously a master of the craft. So I'm so happy to be part of this collective. And Laura, you're right. Planning an anniversary is a huge undertaking. And because we had done several of these, so we really see it through from the beginning to end. And this could, and then doing an event and building an experience that are successful could really set the tone for the next 50 years or next 100 years. We're big about not just producing another event, but rather really making sure you curate an experience that inspire and leave a legacy. That's what we like to do. So after you've gone through, HAI and a marketing maven with all the details, it's really great to be able to bring all kind of that finer vision and also intention to life. So some of the process we go through is one, assembly a high level team. I can't emphasize how important this is. A lot of the Fortune 500 we work with, that's part of the beginning. Making sure having a high level planning team is so crucial. We have sat on a few of these committees before. So kind of like Megan say, making sure this team is well sought out, right? With partners like HAI, Marketing Maven, and then an event management agency, in addition to maybe branding or even your internal marketing and HR team. So it's very crucial because this will really set the tone for the rest of the event as you roll out your anniversary. Second one is really defining the celebration objectives. What is this event for? How do you want to celebrate? Is it for the employee? Is it for the community? Is it for your customer? Or is it for everybody? All the above, right? And do you have a theme in mind? I think that's always a really great way to kind of integrate the rest of the event and for us to weave in to the event program or the event design. We have one client, their theme was bridging, it has something to do with the bridge. So the event design, we actually have these beautiful pieces in their centerpiece that are like bridges, so there are all these little elements or big elements that kind of help connect all that history, right? Even with the history. So we have one client that was turning 50 and we had a step and repeat that was literally 50 feet wide, and it incorporated all their history along the way in these honeycomb designs. So as guests walk down the step and repeat, they also get to experience the brand from the beginning to where it is now. And then at the event itself, they'll kind of talk about what's to come, right? I think that's always a great way. Intentionality is so important, and really, really ensuring that high quality branding. And that's why partners like this really work. And it's important because you want to make sure the branding for this anniversary is not that it's different, it's still cohesive with your consistent branding, but what is the tie-in, because this branding will end up being on the pin that you distribute to all your staff. Is it on the ties that the staff will wear? Is it a scarf? So there's so many ways. And then we actually take the branding and we weave it into a lot of the event design. So the branding is so important. Next one, yes, make sure you have a budget. And I don't just say a budget, I say a substantial budget, because we have seen this and we just see people like add, right? Oh, also add this, because it is a crucial moment. I spoke about it a little bit earlier that this is not just an event that's a one night. A lot of time we do these events, people are still talking about it 10 years later, and that's what we want because it builds a foundation. And we have people come to the anniversary event and say, wow, this is a great brand. They look like they're doing really well. I love what they're saying about where they're going in the future. I'm going to invest more in this brand, or I'm going to, increase my sales with this company, right? So that is all super strategic. But the budget, it goes to a lot of different elements like venue, catering, so many different things that's included. Event date and venue. So you got to look at your calendar. I'm sure there's, especially with these big brands and companies, you have so many other big festivities that are coming up. Checking your CEO's calendar. I know there's one event series we did it was an 8-event campaign. And they really have to look at the CEO schedule to make sure that he can make it to all of them. Originally, they were thinking the CEO would only go to 4. But you know what? This is a 50th anniversary, right? So he want to be intentional. He wants to be there. So making sure that that's really part of that plan when you're doing it. And then venue, oh my gosh, because of your brand, I think it's so great. There's some people, we've done a lot of research in this area too, where they will find a venue that has significance to the brand. So it could be even, the first Starbucks store, right? That's where you kind of kick off the celebration. The whole event doesn't need to be there, but you could start there. But then we recently had one client where we did at a museum because they're a sponsor of the museum, or they really champion arts and entertainment, right? So you kind of see that weaved into the message. And last but not least, making sure you have a grand plan that incorporate anywhere from a custom song you can do or it could be a documentary to really showcase the history of the brand, as well as, we even have big ideas. I think the Anniversary Collective, we love to think bigger, So it's not just like, here's the standard package, but also really challenge our client to think bigger, because again, we're here to make an experience. So you want people to walk away and be like, wow, that was really memorable. And this is one of the best anniversary celebrations I have been to. And using multimedia, I think we always talk about surprise and delight, and integrating. If you have, politician that you want to invite, this is the perfect opportunity, but you also want to make sure you navigate that, because you don't want the entire show just to be speeches. You want to kind of weave that in and really control that messaging throughout the evening. So yes, these are just more high level. I could talk all day about event management, but at a high level, this is where you can start with.
Yeah, thanks, Amanda. What I think is so exciting, and listening to you talk about this and provide those examples of how you've seen this work for companies in the past. When you get down to the event, this is when all of that planning work and that historical research and the marketing strategy and everything comes to life, right? And everyone, all those stakeholders you mentioned, get to experience it. It's like, oh my gosh, HAI has put in all this time to understand the history and maybe even uncover some of those important venue sites that like the company didn't know about. If in some cases when we're celebrating 125 years, people that are in the organization today certainly don't remember that. They weren't even alive. So it's like our research uncovers some of these important places or the important topics that then can be brought to life in the event experience. So I just, I think this is exciting, because this is where, like I say, all of that planning, all of that research, all of the campaign development then gets showcased in the event. And following these steps, keeping in mind all of these considerations that you walked through for everyone today, this is exactly how you do it, right? And this is exactly how you can make sure that all of the hard work that's been put in the early stages of planning, how it all comes together to really have this huge, impactful, unforgettable experience for everyone. So thank you so much for that. And it's so exciting. I'm excited. I want to have an anniversary of my own so that we can do this. But yeah, so that's our content. So let's bring everyone back into the room together here, and we will start some Q&A time. Great. Hi, everyone. I'm glad you're all still here. Good. Okay, so we did get some questions that were submitted to the Anniversary Collective here in advance of the webinar. So let's talk through a few of those. So first of all, the first question that we have is, how do you normally price the services of the collective? I'm sure this is on the top of everyone's mind that's attending today. It's like, this sounds great. What does the pricing look like? So would anyone like to start that conversation?
I can address that first. This is not a cookie cutter type of event. This is your anniversary. So you're going to have an anniversary or a milestone of a different size. And maybe somebody wants to have a huge event. Somebody wants to have some special talent there, some special entertainment. So everything is customizable. So it really depends on what the vision is. And like Amanda said, some people say, and this, and this, and this, and we want a 50-foot step and repeat. So I think just based on creativity and based on what the goals are, the pricing is going to range.
Yeah, absolutely. And in our experience working together with different corporations, right? Especially procurement. Procurement is going to say, okay, well, how do we put real numbers behind all these ideas? So as a team here collectively, we've developed really a two-part model to the pricing that allows for that foundational piece, right? The essential pieces that are necessary for an anniversary or a milestone celebration. Like, these are the things you absolutely have to do to pull this off, right? But then when you get into those really memorable, customizable pieces, Lindsay, that you talk about, and that Amanda was talking about, especially with the event, that's where it's like, okay, let's really think big here. And so we help organizations really think through that. Like, what does that mean from a historical perspective? Maybe we want to create a really interactive, immersive exhibit, for example, that takes all that research that Megan talked about and makes it engaging and immersive, maybe at an event that's staged around the celebration. Or it may be an influencer marketing campaign on social media where you get somebody really high profile from the industry involved in that promotion, right? I mean, that's a different level of marketing strategy for sure. And then, Amanda, I mean, gosh, your team can even do drone shows, right? As part of an event. So, and that's, again, those are all like those think big, thinking about outside the box, and bringing in sort of that modular pricing to those customizable experiences. So, that's, I think it's working. It's worked really well for our clients so far. And, we're always open for improvement and being able to change up that model as it's needed, and to just be able to have the customized components.
Yeah, and then Laura, if you don't mind building on that, is the one thing I really appreciate about this collective is that you'll come to appreciate that every dollar you spend is going to have an impact, and that this group is here to deliver value. I think that's what we're really big on, so that you see the impact at the end of the day, right? No matter what dollar amount that is, but it truly, like we dive into it and say, hey, is this going to make a difference? Is this going to make help elevate the experience or amplify the message, right? That's where it's from, not just like, oh, because we have to do this. I think everything has intentionality. And that's what I love about this group, because we all have kind of our clients' best interests in mind, first and foremost.
The only thing I will add to all of the great answers that have already been mentioned, I think that it's important that folks know that you don't have to have it all figured out pricing wise at the beginning either. Some of the really cool stuff, like the drone shows, I don't know that anyone went into it thinking we're going to do a drone show. But along the way, I'm certain that things will get solidified in terms of what those outputs are. So again, nailing down sort of that basic pricing for initial services, we will meet you where you are. If you're really at the ideation phase, like that is what we're going to focus on. But if you do have an idea in mind, great. We're welcome to your suggestions and inputs, of course. But it's really important to know that, it's a sliding scale in that way.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you all so much for that conversation. Let me pull up the next question that we've gotten here. All right, so the next question is, how does the Anniversary Collective navigate stakeholders with very different priorities?
This is an interesting one because when we have clients with different anniversaries, we see the CEO wants one thing, the founder wants one thing, the person who's in charge is like, no, don't put it all on me. And they need help, and they need help getting on the same page from the get-go. So then everybody understands how big is this sort of initiative and where does this go? Is this a global initiative? Is this North America? Is this just the US? And what's the duration of this initiative? Are we starting at January 1st and it's going to go through December 31st? So just to hash out all those details to start with just really manages expectations. And I found that a lot of the people that are in charge of, you're doing the anniversary responsibilities, they're like, no, because they get either they could be very prideful about it, or they're like, oh boy, I'm in the hot seat because the founder of the company, this is like their baby. They created this company and like now it's in my hands and I don't want to drop the baby. So this is really important that there is alignment early, and then to have expectations managed, and then the person that's in charge can actually get the help, because this is kind of the thing where they're putting their neck out there, like they could get promoted after this or they could be on the bad list after this.
Yeah. And Lindsay, don't forget, they also still have to do their regular job.
Right.
On
This
top
is
of
like
that.
a full-time job. Seriously. Like it's so overwhelming. They're like, stop everything. We have to focus on this. So we're a very, very good partner as the collective. The Anniversary Collective would take a lot of these stressful things off the plate of the person that's assigned this role.
Yeah, and then we always say it may be your first anniversary, but it's not ours. So we kind of come in, and that's why you want the expertise. So you say, we have all these experience, so we've done this before. This is how we would recommend. I think that comes from a very different place compared to, let's try this out, see if it works. You really only get one chance. Okay, so depending on how many events you're doing or how big your celebration is, you get one chance to do this right until your next big celebration.
Yeah, and the nice thing about being sort of an external party to all of this is that, we can come in as sort of a level head, right? So there are going to be all sorts of conflicting opinions on any project, right? People have really strong feelings about different things, and sometimes those folks just need to be heard in a way during the process that makes them feel like, my needs and wants have been taken into consideration. But we as a sort of impartial third party can certainly help navigate any challenges that come up during that process. But that's really why we here at the Anniversary Collective really start with that visioning and theme development. That way we don't have an argument halfway through about like why we're even doing this, right? Like we've established it right at the get-go.
Yeah, absolutely. And, what we're talking about here, alleviating the burden on the anniversary managers, for example, navigating the complexities of stakeholders as being this external party. And we've seen all of this before, right? We've heard all of these concerns, all of these arguments, all the complaints. So we know how to address them, right? We're there to kind of mitigate against those conversations. So I think that leads very well into another question that we got, which is, what are the benefits to hiring the Anniversary Collective as a group, as a collective, rather than sourcing to agencies individually for the specific services that might be needed?
So being a former collegiate athlete, one of the things that I know is when a teammate's going to cross the ball, who's going to go kick it in the net. And so we have that same dynamic here at the Anniversary Collective, in that we've worked together on different projects, and we know, okay, HAI is going to handle this, Innovate's going to handle this, and the creative team is going to handle this. And so we know how to work with each other and navigate different situations with different companies and do it effectively.
And I would say, we sat on a few committee like this. It actually takes time to assemble a team like this. And everybody here is master of the craft. And I think with a lot of synergy, it also helps, right? Because sometimes there's certain initiatives for marketing but it doesn't make sense. So on the event side, we have to go back and say, hey, this doesn't make sense. But we're not here to make individually look good. We're here for a common goal. And I think everybody here played very well together and kind of creating that, how to amplify the overall anniversary experience for the client. That's what I love. And then just because it saves so much time, just assembling this team could be anywhere between 3 to 6 months.
Right. And also, I mean, we are doing that planning step together up front, right? So rather than having to do a completely new start from scratch because you brought in a new company to help with, the planning, the strategic planning, and then you're bringing another company in for your marketing and then another for your event management. We're all working together. We're all constantly communicating. We're debriefing on each client engagement, right? Each meeting that we have, so that we're bringing everyone up to speed so that the companies don't have to do that when they're onboarding new team members to the program. So, we've got that continual thread of communication there amongst our team. Great. Let me see. I think we have time for one more question here. Let me just pull it up. All right, so this is kind of a big summary question. I think it gets to a lot of certainly what we've been talking about throughout the entire webinar here. So as we've said, commencing the planning process for a company anniversary, it can be quite a big challenge. So I guess if you had to leave everyone with maybe one insight or one recommendation to guide the audience here in this significant undertaking, what would it be? We can start. Megan, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start us off. I think, well, I gave quite a few hints or tips rather, but my biggest one would probably be establish why you would like to commemorate the event, or what the purpose of it is, because I think you want it to be significant in a variety of ways, and so if you have a why, you can build from there. Like that's just the most foundational building block to have.
Mine's similar. What sort of takeaway do you want guests to have after attending? So is it like, wow, I'm so inspired. Wow, I want to work there. Or wow, I want to work here until I can't work anymore. Or I want to do business with this company because we don't do enough business with them. We should do all of our business with this company. So that's really similar. This is like Megan gave the front end. What's the goal? Mine is like, what do you want them to feel? What is their emotional tie to your corporation after they leave?
Mine's also start with the why. I mean, that's where we really curate. Understanding that, we could curate the rest, and making sure that's clear for everybody from the beginning. It's just really help ensure the rest of the planning, because some of these planning could take 2 years. A lot of these strategy board we first sit on takes about a year, and then the full execution is another year, because there's a lot of integrated. And then the why, we always go back to the why. Like, does this hit that? If it doesn't, then we kind of say, hey, we kind of deviate a little bit. We got to come back. What is the why?
Yeah, and piggybacking off of what you said, Amanda, too, it's never too early to start planning, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because then you have the leeway to think big, and then you can build momentum, right? As you're moving toward that milestone, you can build the momentum of the budget and the stakeholder buy-in and the C-level buy-in, community buy-in, get your foundation involved, for example, to really, have that time to put all of that together, and the budget and everything to have this huge, exciting, impactful celebration. So great. Well, that's all the time for the Q&A that we have today. If anyone out there in the audience has any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You'll have our contact information. It just is coming across the ticker here right now. So you can always contact us. And with that, I think we're going to do a little bit of a wrap up here, and we'll pull up our slide that has the summary of who we are, what we do, what we're all about. Megan, Lindsay, Amanda, I just first of all, of course, want to thank you all so much for being here today. It's always such a pleasure to all be in the virtual room together and be able to chat and collaborate. And I just, as I'm thinking about, what we've been talking about today, I just have a few takeaways that I just really want to reiterate. We are here, the Anniversary Collective is here to alleviate those pain points of having to work independently with each specialty company that has to be involved in a anniversary celebration. When you reach out to us, you connect with all of those experts at once. As we talked about in our Q&A, we have celebrated so many corporate milestones and events many times over, from planning to execution, everything in between. And we've helped companies do this together, right? We as a collective know and trust each other. To Lindsay's soccer analogy, we know how to pass the ball, when it's going to get passed, how to move down the field together. We know how to work together to help your organization celebrate in style. I hope that you can tell from our interactions today that we're all really passionate about what each of us does and the work that we do, and we just love helping organizations do this. And one final thought I want to leave you with that we've discussed throughout: anniversaries are the face of your organization and its leadership. As we've said, they're a once in a lifetime opportunity to simultaneously honor your past while also looking to launch into your future, what comes beyond that milestone date, right? And so anniversaries and milestone celebrations, they involve the original founders and they involve the current executives and leaders of your company. So they're high profile projects. It's the chance to capture history in real time from the original players' points of view, from the current players' points of view. And it's just a chance to really impress, right? You as perhaps the manager of this anniversary celebration, you have the opportunity to impress your company leadership and the connections that they have within your industry. So it's this opportunity to really impact many people. And honestly, it's also an opportunity and a chance to maybe even show off a little bit. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, we have these great ideas and we know the people that can make them happen. And so you want to make sure you're doing that with the best team available. And so we'd love to have the opportunity to work with you all in trust around those celebrations. So again, if you have any questions or if you'd like to schedule an initial discovery call, please reach out to us at the Anniversary Collective. Again, that contact information is below. You can visit our website at anniversarycollective.com, and you'll also be receiving an email from us after the webinar just thanking you for your time today. So with that, on behalf of the entire Anniversary Collective, thank you all so much for attending today's webinar. We look forward to hearing from you, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.